been sick for the past few weeks, so this came out a lot later than I wanted. I spent a full week inside a 6-sided RNG machine, rolling it over and over and over again to see if I could get a 2 out of 5 roll. For me to get this was the process. I needed to complete Hexahedron in the Prophecy Dungeon. This is available to farm once every 4 weeks. I needed to get lucky. I have a 1 in 3 chance of receiving the shotgun. The other 2 drops are Adjudicator and Armor. This is better than the other encounters. Then, I needed to achieve 2 perks in the 3rd and 4th column. Repulsor Brace and Trench Barrel, both with a 1 in 6 chance. This is the only shotgun in the game with these 2 perks. This shotgun is the gun I want because it'll make my desired play loop reliable and complete it in an interesting fashion. It will work with the exotic I'm planning to utilize, and it'll work with the artifact perks I want to make use of. What's more is this is the only season I can use it to its utmost. I have all the other pieces. So, I'm running this dungeon. And I have a less than 1% chance of getting the drop. There's no pity timer on this. I don't have the possibility of this increasing the longer I spend in this dungeon. What's worse is, I'd like to get a 3 out of 5, but that's a 0.2% chance. A 0.08% chance to get a 4 out of 5. 0.02% to get a 5 out of 5. Do you or I need this gun? No. The build only requires it for reliability and Grandmaster level content. If you aren't running those, it should be fine. But it would make the build work and feel fluid in more content. It would allow me to recommend it more easily. But, on the other hand, how could I recommend it? If you happen to want to play this build, how could I in good conscience recommend farming for this? What I want for players is to engage with the game, and ideally there are available routes to get these weapons without needing to grind and grind and grind with no hope for achieving it. If I'm not feeling any sense of joy rolling these dice, knowing the likelihood of getting what I want, how could I ask the same of others? I'm not feeling like I'm being rewarded when I'm given 5 of the exact same roll. Am I engaged with the game by spending time doing this? Technically. But the time I spend goes down and down and down. Playing the game for the sake of playing the game, devising new ways to enjoy it and feeling like I've found my solution, that's why I play Destiny. That's why I want to get the gun and use the gun. There's an alternative. Slayer's Fang, the Act 3 exotic, can have Repulsor Brace as one of its catalysts, so I could use it. But it doesn't have Trench Barrel, so this build could utilize it for that purpose, but it's also a slug shotgun, which makes it worse for reliable play unless its damage is massively cranked over normal slugs. I'm left in the same position, and a worse one as someone who is trying to make a build I can recommend to others. Is the build fun? Yes. The pieces work together in a satisfying manner, making it an engaging way to play. It plays well with other Strand users or closer range setups. Is it worth running Prophecy until your sanity fails you as you watch the dice roll over and over? This next part is a matter of what makes the game fun for you. I enjoy incremental improvement in skill and innovation. I don't like the inability to make any form of progress on a goal. I can tackle loss after loss in Darktide and be fine with it. I'm improving and better understanding how to deal with obstacles. The hardest challenges are fun despite losing again and again. It's why I enjoy running GMs over and over. I don't care about the drops I get from it. They're nice to have, but ultimately I'm not chasing a roll. I enjoy testing builds against what the game has to offer and finding out whether or not they work. And if they're lacking, I have a fun problem to solve, an issue I can work on. How do I resolve this? This is why randomness is so frustrating. I can keep farming and never get the roll I want. When I, personally, cannot make progress despite doing my utmost and doing what I'm supposed to do to get the roll I want, it detracts from my interest in the game. When I can't even guarantee the drop I'd like and can farm for 2 hours without receiving a single drop of the weapon I'm there for. This is a performative exercise. I understand how I am engaging with the game. This fulfills Bungie's metrics, and I should stop playing if I'm not enjoying myself to better send a message. But I'm playing this in the hope I can truly show anyone who is anti-crafting how hopeless it feels to run into that wall. There's no joy here, only a grim time limit of 1 week. Get your roll. And on top of this, it limits buildcraft. Because I'm unable to get this roll, I can't properly test the build. I've used the best possible alternatives and it worked well enough, but it was unreliable. Surrounded is the closest possible equivalent on Scavenger's Fate at a 47% damage boost, and Vorpal is only 15% on special weapons. But Surrounded comes with the caveat of only lasting for 1.5 seconds once the enemies you need are gone. Desperate Measures last longer, but also requires you to kill enemies in succession and is still lower, maxing out at 30%. Trench Barrel is 3 shots of 50%, which you receive from Grapple or Arcane Needle. Here's the build. Scavenger's Fate works in most content, but it does get riskier in higher tier content. I've used it in GMs and it feels great to pair up with the Spider Hunter build. However, it doesn't work as effectively for staying alive or having the tools to stay alive in bad situations. So if you have the shotgun or want to use it with Scavenger's Fate or Nessa's Oblation, here's the quick build. With Fellwinter's Helm, you apply a tractor cannon level weaken onto enemies surrounding you with any melee or finisher. This allows you to get Devour and Void Overshields by killing enemies with a repulsor brace weapon, ideally a shotgun because this allows you to do it quickly and on higher health targets. Devour and Void Overshields are more effective on subclasses who cannot usually acquire them. On Strand, you receive access to Woven Mail and Suspend. Increasing your survivability with extra sustain, grenade energy, and overshields is extremely useful. So then, getting these on a regular basis is even more useful. It allows you to have a pseudo-rainbow build without prismatic and the benefits of alternative aspects. I like Grapple and feel it pairs nicely with Fellwinter's, so I made the build around it. But it can be safer to use Weaver's Trance with a Suspend grenade and play further into support. But I can't get the role I'd like to use for it. If you do, try it out, let me know, but don't farm for it. Please. This game has been around long enough where people need to have an incentive just to grind for a gun. It needs to be significantly better than what they already have, or it needs to attract them in some way. Crafting may have been a negative for the game at some point. It did strip the randomness out from grinding and made it feasible to eventually acquire a specific god roll. It did actually remove some of the awe of seeing a perfectly rolled gun. That is 100% true. Are you going to go see a god roll crafted weapon and go, holy shit, how'd you get that? No. You'll go, oh yeah, I got that. But Destiny has always suffered when it is continually frustrating because it creates apathy. Crafting was necessary for the game long before it was in the game to help with bad rolls. Think about this. They introduced a set of 3 weapons with 12 perks in each column in Beyond Light, and there was no ability to focus it. There were no extra perks, no guarantee you would even receive one at the end of a strike or gambit game. And then they said these roles would expire in a year with sunsetting. How are you supposed to create an incentive to want to get these guns? The most fondly remembered parts of Destiny have been when it felt possible to get the role you wanted. Dawn, Arrivals, Opulence. The loot spigot felt like it was rewarding, like your time meant something. I feel as if Destiny has moved from looter shooter with random drops into something more akin to Darktide or Helldivers or Deep Rock Galactic. To attempt to steer it towards random drops hurt the game because it means you feel like the game is both taking these away from you and you feel the pressure of getting a role you want before it's too late. The game is fun, but look how annoying it is to get just one role when it's available at a relatively easy pace. Cold Comfort was hell to farm. This season has felt like a mess of being unable to target the roles I specifically want. And at the end of the day, it sucks to play a game and not feel like you're making any progress. To put hours in and not feel like you're any closer to something you'd like to get. While I got VS Velocity Baton with demo attrition orbs, I did not get a good pyroelectric propellant. You know what didn't feel like hell? Accrued Redemption. Is it bad that I stopped playing the raid after I got it? I don't think so. Because when I have a role I want, I have a plan for it. I have an idea as to where I'd like to use it. When I see a gun and see some weird role I'd like to try for it, getting it lets me try it out and use it. If I can craft it, I can figure out new uses for it. My stance is Destiny should be more about the builds, the variety, the way you can mix and work hand in hand with your teammates. And my extremely cold take is the content removal stops us and newer players from forming more of an attachment to these guns. By making the content FOMO and forcing newer players to miss out, they don't get the experience of encountering this Pokemon gun while going through a story and liking it. I remember liking a Last Dance with Dragonfly when I started out, or this Kindled Orchid with quick draw explosive rounds was one of my favorites to use in PvP. And crafting and multi-perks on weapons helped. When Xenoclast got multi-perks, I farmed it to get the 1-2 punch roll. I wanted my Emperor's Courtesy back. I've put almost 10,000 kills on my crafted fixed odds, 5,000 on my Callus Mini. I have 2 separate Enigmas because I'm demented and they're both almost level 200. I made a Volta bracket specifically to help run people through Contest Nezarec. I kept and used a red herring because it just felt great to use and it had a chiming noise when you reloaded it. I'm still attached to old weapons, even crafted ones I know I could delete or get rid of for now. Isn't that the point of Destiny, to make us into hoarders who keep guns we know we should just release into the wild? I don't want to keep chasing a new favorite just to never get it. I want to get it so I can love it. Thanks for watching, and have a good one.